It felt like just another Saturday. I was 50 meters offshore in the South China Sea in a boat, the wind whipping on my face, the smell of the sea, looking out the distant horizon and the gorgeous sunrise that was happening. I was snapped out of my reverie just then by screaming from behind me. I looked back just to see two grown women on the beach, jumping up and down, screaming, pointing at the water, shouting. I'm like, what's going on? I turn to see where they're pointing at, and I see what couldn't be. Shock and disbelief came over me. Fellow Toastmasters, I am amazed where passion comes from. One of those I found is something I'd like to tell you about. I moved to Malaysia in Southeast Asia when I was 8 years old. The 5 years I spent there were some of the most interesting and magical that I have ever had. I discovered such things, fun things, that many to this day have remained my passion. First of all, I was in a new school. There were new activities that I was introduced to coming from Nigeria. Never been outside my country, let alone continent, finding myself on another continent full of strange and exciting things. Things like activities in my school. My school's made out of wood. I had never been in a building made out of wood before. And not only that, but on stilts. The smells of the classroom and the people I was surrounded by. Growing up, I had only been around black people, people from Nigeria. But here I was surrounded by white people, Asian people, people from Australia, New Zealand, the UK, Holland, everywhere. And I came to develop really strong relationships with them. One especially of which was a girl that I had a crush on. Her name was Stephanie. So, Stephanie was a beautiful girl, and I'm not just talking about physical beauty. She had an air about her, a grace. She was poised, soft-spoken, and had a smile that just would light up a room. I could never get close to Stephanie, although we were in the same grade, we weren't in the same class, and it always came across that when I got out of class, she was either on her bike on the way home. There was never a chance for me to talk with her a while. Then again, I was the shyest kid in school, so I don't even think if I would been given the chance, I would have been able to do so. So I thought my chance was gone. I used to play football at a local clubhouse close to the beach where we lived. And I found out that Stephanie played squash. For those of you who are not familiar with the game of squash, I can't explain it to you, I don't get it. But we would pass each other, I'd be coming, she'd be going, I'd be going, she'd be coming, and we never got to interact. So I thought, okay, waiting for this is never gonna happen, I'm gonna take matters into my own hands. So I go there, look through the roster, who had scheduled the squash courts for a week and week and week after week. I never found her name. I almost all but gave up. When one day, on the beach, I saw Stephanie pulling up a small boat from the water up onto the beach, slowly taking her time to dismantle it, and walking leisurely to put it away. I thought if there was any time or place where I would get the chance to be forced to talk to her, it would be then. Right then that day, I found out that it was a sailing club. I ran home, told my mother that I was gonna become a sailor. Turns out that I did. So, rather than focusing on the task at hand, I made sure that I was close to Stephanie when we were sailing. I was close to her when she was getting out of the water. And I also made sure that I was next to her as we were taking our equipment back, asking her if she needed help. Turns out that I got what I was hoping. Not only did we become friendly, we became friends. And not only at sailing club, but in school. I remember she would wait for me after class, and we would walk to the rack where we parked our bikes, and we would bike home. One such instance was when I got really excited. I rode her all the way home, and at the end she gazed into my eyes, and I knew, wow, I had done it. I had become friends with her. I rode home, just throwing my hands in the air, going, victory! I had got what I wanted. But I had no idea that getting what I wanted would bring out something even more incredible. In an interesting twist, sailing had brought me to Stephanie, but Stephanie would then introduce me to sailing. Up until then, I don't remember much about sailing. I really wasn't paying attention because I was there for ulterior motives. But talk about coming full circle, because all that changed one day. So there I was, 50 meters offshore in the South China Sea, the wind whipping across my face, staring out at a distant horizon, looking at the gorgeous sunrise, smelling the sea. The scent of the sea was incredible to me. Screaming and shouting from behind me, I turned to see two women jumping up, screaming, pointing at the water frantically and hysterically. One of them was my mother, and that perked up my attention. I looked to see what was going on, and then I saw it. Just in front, in the distance, something bobbing up and down in the water, flailing. I looked and I focused, and it was an 8-year-old boy, my younger brother. At that moment, everything, all the training that I thought I wasn't paying any attention to, kicked right in. I pulled the cord, I got the sail in the right place, I turned the boat towards tacking, using the wind to get me where I needed to go. I wasn't afraid, I was confident. Everything seemed to just click into place, and I was in what many describe as flow, where I wasn't sailing. Sailing was sailing through me. I got to him, grabbed him out of the water, pulled him into the boat, aimed the bow towards the beach, right where my mother was standing, sailed straight there, and everything seemed just to be helping me along the way. The wind was right, the waves were just right. Reached there in what I thought was an instant. I got out of the boat, my brother ran into my mother's arms, and I just stayed there on the beach, turned towards the boat, and just knew then that I had found a lifelong passion, which to this day, I'm happy to report, I still enjoy.